Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the weekend wrap up, the news that matters. I'm David Thomas. Mr. Josh Blevins sitting across from me. You've
Good
got a
morning.
lot of stuff to talk about this morning, Josh.
It was a very, very busy week.
Yes, it was.
A lot was going on this week. So yeah, a lot of topics we'll hit. Hopefully, won't go off on too many rabbit trails. But
Hey,
apologies
you throw
in
it out
advance if
there.
we do.
Hey, you put one in my face, and I'm gonna chase it.
You are.
Josh.
You are. Yeah.
Before we dive into this stuff and go over this very important stuff, let's hear from our sponsors. Which is Dennis Young Insurance.
Dennis Young. Thank you, Mr. Dennis Young.
Yeah. And we will be right back after we hear from him.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
All righty, welcome back here for the weekend wrap up. It is February 14th, and we're coming live to you this morning.
We are.
Lots of news.
Lots of news. Busy week. Let's jump right in. Monday, all day long in the big city of Knoxville. There was a court hearing, went a little over 6 hours long. We reported on it, I don't know what day, Tuesday or Wednesday. Go back and read the article. It kind of gives a rundown just really quick. Jump right to the conclusion, which is that the receivership is going to stay in place at Uncle Nearest as it has been for the moment, at least probably for the next month or more. No changes. The receiver doesn't get any additional control over their businesses. He does not lose any control. So he's still running the show as far as it goes, the Uncle Nearest Corporation and things in the distilling and whiskey world out there. We didn't get to go. I spoke with actually a number of different people that are actually working in the news media that have been covering this. And out of everybody that I spoke with that's been covering it pretty close, none of them got to go. So, but we did have the Tennesseans sent one reporter in. Their court reporter, Evan, went in for the day, and he posted something to the Tennessean. You have to be a subscriber. They actually are, unlike us, they're trying to make money. So they charge for their content.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run down just a couple quick bullet points of what actually went on in the room for people that are curious. A lot of this is already out there. You can find it with a little Google searching. But right off the bat, the attorney for Uncle Nearest, Michael Collins, seemed, at least according to the reporter from the Tennessean, to be unprepared. He said he didn't have his exhibit list together, that he started referencing paperwork that the other attorneys hadn't seen yet, which is a no-no in court. So that was a little went sideways early on. He also said, when questioned by the judge, that the attorney said the reason he wasn't as prepared as he should have been is that there's been such a flood of recent allegations that they have been drinking from a fire hose. So they can't keep up. They can't keep up.
Okay.
So the receiver went on the stand. He mentioned that within the past week, which didn't make it into the paperwork filed in time because it happened so recently, another creditor has stepped in and demanded payment on an outstanding loan. This is $45 million. Pushes, according to the receiver, total debt to about $209 million, and that $99 million of that is currently unsecured. This particular debt, we kind of know what it is. This is Advanced Spirits. This is where the quote-unquote missing barrels went, which is the fact that the barrels exist and the barrels are sitting in a warehouse. But what they did, there's 25,000 of these barrels. They sold them to an outside entity, Advanced Spirits. Advanced Spirits didn't buy them because they want to buy whiskey. They bought them as a way to make money. They bought them. They're gathering interest off this money, and they will sell them. They have a contract with Uncle Nearest where Uncle Nearest buys them back at a higher dollar figure at a future
whiskey
date.
pawn shop.
It is. So yeah, so the total dollar amount on those that's owed is $45 million, and Advanced Spirits reached out to the receiver and said, "Hey, we sure would like to get our $45 million.
Payday loans coming back."
Yes, they would like to get
calling
paid.
it in.
So Mrs. Weaver, Fawn Weaver, was the last on the stand. She testified that the receiver is the cause of the company's financial deterioration over the last 6 months. So that is why they're headed in a bad direction. She presented sales data that said that sales only started to drop after the receiver came and took over the business. She said under oath, if I went out on the courthouse steps and said that Uncle Nearest is back in my hands today, every store that has Uncle Nearest on the shelf would immediately sell out. The Farm Credit attorney replied to that and said, but that still wouldn't make your debt go away, would it? So that was the response there. One of the distributors also testified, one of their big distributors. He said that the reason the brand is doing bad is because Fawn Weaver is the brand 100%. The brand is her.
Okay.
And then they had a payroll company. He testified. He said that he feels like the receiver has misled him and said the receiver's a fraud. Although he also pointed out that the receiver has not missed a payment since he's taken over.
Okay. All right. So
yeah. And then it ended with the judge saying, if I take this receivership away, there's wolves at the door and they're coming in. So
let's go
Yeah.
back to the beginning of this.
Yeah.
Okay. When they were trying to determine who the receiver was going to be, this is the one that the Weavers brought forward as a
this is the one-
possibility.
this
This
was
their
the Uncle
preference.
Nearest
That was their
recommendation.
preference.
Yeah, this was the recommended receiver by them. There were 3 brought forward. The bank offered 2. They offered 1. The judge went with their recommendation. At least one of the ones that the bank brought forward actually had quite a bit more experience in the liquor world, but he went with their recommendation. So clearly that didn't turn out in the direction that they thought it would. They're now at odds.
Well, it's
So,
you take all the personalities, all of this, it all gets down to a number, to numbers. This
Dollars.
is what this goes to.
dollars. The bank wants
Exactly.
to get paid.
That's it.
So
So if the receivership was pulled away, you know that Farm Credit's not going to stop.
no, they would move to foreclosure would be their next move. That's their next legal
Right.
move. If the receiver's not in there running it, they've said they don't want to continue to try to let the business operate as it is. They feel like they would lose the remainder or a big portion of what they're
Yeah.
owed. So they would move in and try to
My
foreclose on
feeling
the
on this
assets.
whole thing, Josh, and you might not have the same feeling, but I feel like the words out of the judge's mouth next on this ruling, it's gonna speed the process of seeing some resolution coming, because I know the 6 months timetable has been come out from the receiver saying this has got to be rectified within 6 months or we're in trouble.
According to him.
According to him, it's because it's a spiral downward. So I could see. I thought this might drag out for 2 or 3 years. I don't think so. I don't think.
No, I don't think it's got 2 or 3 years in it now, and it's very expensive to continue this on. We posted a video from Fawn Weaver that you can watch on our Facebook. It's part of a series of 3, and part of her complaint, and it's accurate, is having a receivership is expensive. It is running about $500,000 a month, because it's not just a receiver's not just a dude. It's not just a dude.
Right,
sitting
it's a
in an
team.
office. It is a team of multiple law firms. Lawyers are not cheap. I believe their number of expert, whatever firms that are helping run this is in the neighborhood of 6 or 7 companies billing at hundreds of dollars an hour. I mean, you do
Well,
that
they charge
math.
about a minute.
yeah, probably. So it's running about $500,000 a month just to have them oversee the company, dig through the records, try to get some kind of a resolution on this. So as far as where we sit right now, there's a February 26th and a March 5th deadline from the judge for the parties to file paperwork. So after he gets everything on March 5th, he will make a ruling of some kind. I wouldn't expect it would happen in a day or 2. It may take a minute. So, but definitely I would think by mid-March, you're going to have a ruling from him. He's got the choice of expanding the receivership to allow the receiver to take over their additional companies that have been requested. He could leave things like they are, which is where we're at now. He could remove the receivership completely and just put them back in charge and let the bank go ahead and move towards foreclosure. So he's got several different things he could do there, and we'll know that sometime in the month of March, probably about the middle of March. Could be early March, but probably middle. So, and that's kind of where we stand with that. They are. I had somebody ask me today. They said, "Are they still open?" And they are. They're open. So there's limited hours at the bar, very limited hours. Last I saw was, I don't even think they had been open on Fridays. They may be open Friday now. They're definitely Saturday and Sunday for a few hours. The barbecue restaurant continues to be open, and they're doing tours 7 days a week still. So you can still go in there and take the tour. So yeah, those parts are all still running. So Monday, while all that was going on in Knoxville, I was here in town because I had a lot going on. Monday morning, the city held their pre-planning meeting. This is for the March what's going to come up for the Planning Commission in March. This was one of the lighter pre-planning meetings in a minute. We hit a lull again, which has been going on more lately. We've had more low months. There was really nothing worth discussing. I'll just mention two that were in. There was only like 4 things on the agenda. One of the people didn't even show up to the meeting, so they weren't too concerned about their project. Lexington Cove, which is the PUD that was approved over behind Piggly Wiggly, all they brought were some updated construction drawings, or some construction drawings, I guess. I don't know if they were updated for phase 2, which is the portion that will have townhomes up on the east side of the development. And then Union Street Liquors down at the corner of Union and Colorado there, they're looking to add a little addition to the end of the building. So that was the extent of the excitement. Looks like possibly, fingers crossed, the March planning meeting might be a little light. So we'll see how that goes.
It seems that way.
Something else could come up, something could get pushed to it, but that's where we see it. Same day in the evening, I was on Colorado at the Bedford County Republican Party and monthly meeting, talking about they were planning for the annual Reagan Day dinner. They're hoping to have it sometime in the month of April, and they're looking at either the Fly or Blue Ribbon. They're just trying to get their organization together. They're trying to get ready before the primary, because primary season is coming up on us. I believe primary is what, May 5th, I believe. So they would like to have all the Republican candidates have an opportunity to come in and speak, not just our county ones, but they would like to have some people that are running for governor and some of the other state ones as well, or at least a representative come in. We've talked while we're there. There's nothing else on here on the election. Just real quick, by next weekend, we'll have an almost final list of candidates. Everybody has to have their papers in by Thursday.
That's the 19th.
The 19th. Right. Now, they technically have 1 week after that, after they all get a chance to look at the list and say, man, I don't think my chances are good. They have a week that they can pull out. So technically it won't be the final, but I've only been here a couple seconds. I've rarely seen anybody pull out once they've qualified. So it's going to be pretty much the list by next Saturday.
There's some of these districts that are piled up pretty big with a lot of numbers in the county race.
There's several where we get a number of people. I still think, and I went back and looked at this again yesterday, and we've still got a few days, things could change. We are only going to have in that May 5th primary, and it's even less than I thought. It looks like we are going to only have, and I don't know how this is going to shake out on the property search. We may only have one competitive race in the county primary. Definitely the one we will have will be county mayor. It looks like none of the commission races are going to have a competitive primary, which would require more than 2 people to be running in it. And the only other one that we won't know until March would be property assessor. I don't know if we're going to have two different people try to run as Republican or if they're going to run as independent. So
that means our general elections are going to be piled up with candidates.
General election is where all the backlog will be. That'll be in August, and we'll have county commission districts with 5, possibly 6. It was looking like 7 or 8. Looks like some of them whittled down a little bit, but I say we could still have some with 5 or 6.
All right. So
and you'll have to pick 2.
Question, Josh.
Yeah.
Does this take some of the importance away from the primaries? Does this cause people not to vote as much in the primaries? And if so, how will that have an effect?
I think it does a little bit. I mean, county mayor is a big race, so that might by itself may be enough of a draw.
Right.
But as far as your county commissioner, you're not going to make that decision in that primary. Now, you may put a name down, but they'll have a bunch of other competitors coming around in August.
Right.
So, yeah. So that county mayor will be the one that will be that field will get whittled down a little bit at that primary. So, and that's unusual, I think. From the last cycle, we had a lot more people running with an R next to their name. So, and I even saw, and this person had not qualified yet, I saw a county commissioner on the list with a D next to their name. That was the first one of those I'd seen.
That's rare.
Since I've been here. Yeah, that is. So yeah, other than Johnny Reed, I hadn't seen anybody running as a Democrat. So yeah. So we'll see if that person qualifies. They had not as of this week. So Tuesday evening was the big one for me. This was our first meeting of the Joint Senior Property Tax Freeze Study Committee. Say that 3 times fast.
But that's tough.
It is. You can go on our YouTube and Facebook and watch the entire meeting. If you're on the Facebook page, go to the comments. There's a link to the exact same paperwork that everybody sitting up there got with the numbers and the information. We wanted to have everything out there in the open, in the public, where people could see it.
Now, Josh, let me just brag on you. This is the way it's supposed to be done. This is the way it's supposed to be done. Full disclosure.
Yeah.
Everybody sees everything. And
Right.
we get a lot of this stuff, but people don't pay attention a lot of times, and you have to probably accumulate it yourself. But you've wrapped it up in a nice little package for everybody here.
That was the goal. Yeah. Cause some of this, and, not to go off on too much of a tangent, but there's committee meetings that I go to that happen on a monthly basis. And there's discussion that happens and they discuss numbers and whatnot. And I have been here, I don't know how, I've been here a while, but I've been covering this for over 2 years. And I still go in once a month and put in a public records request so that I can look at the same information that those people sitting up
Right.
there can look at, which I think is not the best way to do that. So I'd
There it
rather
is.
just have it laid out there.
Right.
And most of, other than one in particular, most of the rest of it has been going on county and city websites now. So we're getting better.
Right.
We're moving in the right direction.
Right.
But I wish we were all the way in that direction would be the ideal. So and
Right.
that's what we're trying to do with this committee. Every single there's no secret
Yes.
there was no
exactly.
secret papers that we were looking
Right.
at that you can't see. There's I don't know what it was, 15, 20 pages.
And
of
there was no
paperwork.
smoke in that room.
There was no smoke in the room. There was
It was good.
we could see what was
Yeah.
going on. We could hear what now I only had one camera. So the
Oh,
people that made a comment from out in the crowd, you can't see them, but you can hear them.
Right.
So you can hear what they said. And we just want to make it so that everybody, because the 18 commissioners, hopefully at some point will have to make a decision on this, and also the 6 city council members, I wanted them to have all of the information, even if they weren't
Right.
able to attend the meeting.
right.
So
well, hopefully
and the
they'll-
public.
Hopefully
Yeah.
they'll all view the meeting.
Yeah, that was the goal. And I plan on, and I was a little lax at the end of the week. I plan on sending an email to the entire county commission and city council and just say, here's the packet, really easy. So you don't even have to go hunt for it. Here's
Right.
an attachment on this email that has the packet of information we handed out. Here's a link to the YouTube video. It'll take you 60 minutes to sit down and be at that same meeting that we are, and you can do it anytime in your free time. So, yeah. And we've got 2 more of those meetings. There's one second Tuesday in March and the second Tuesday in April. Second Tuesday in March, Rhonda is helping us bring in somebody from the state that works on the senior property tax freezes, their full-time job.
Right.
So if we have, which there are a lot of questions on the process, how this goes on, how other counties do it, we'll have somebody that actually knows what they're talking about that can talk about it. So
Right.
yeah,
From an outsider looking in, Josh, I will say that was a very, very good meeting, and it seemed to be productive.
it did. Yeah. And it was nice. Another tangent to have. We had our city mayor there. We had some county commissioners. We had some city council members. We actually had
Good blend of folks.
people that aren't normally together in the same room sitting there working together. So I wish we had a little more of that too. So that, yeah. All around, I was pleased. I'm optimistic with the direction we're going with that. So immediately after that, and this is why we scheduled it for that night, we walked right across the hall and walked in the county commission meeting. They met for about 6 minutes.
6 minutes, Josh.
I think it was 7, but it was
Okay.
Yeah, whatever.
I
6
sit
or
down.
7. Yeah.
I turn it on. I sit down. I say, all right, I'm going to
Yeah.
go get something to drink. I wanted to get something to drink and messed around just for a second. I came back and
It was over.
Bill Farrell was calling for an adjournment.
Calling
I
for
go,
an
what?
Yeah.
I missed it all.
There was nothing controversial. They
Yeah.
were approving the notaries, and what did they approve? I think a couple of photocopier contracts, and there was something about the reappraisal cycle. They left it the same as it's always been. It's a 5-year reappraisal cycle,
Yeah.
which is how it's been recently. So there was no debate, no comment. They voted all in favor, aye, and went
Yeah.
right through. So
Yeah.
there weren't even a lot of announcements. Usually the announcements take 5 or 6
Yeah.
minutes. They didn't even have that. So it was quick. So Thursday morning, I got to spend 3 hours at the Fly. They had what was called the Bedford County Re-Entry Simulation. They gave us a little name badge and a little packet of paperwork, and we got to pretend that we had just been let out of the Bedford County Jail and figure out how to re-assimilate into society. So I failed, David.
Did
I'm
you
not gonna
really?
lie. I failed, and the way I failed was I failed 3 drug tests in a row. So
What?
I know. I went to get I got my birth certificate, and I got my social security card, and I got my driver's license. I was feeling good. I went to my first probation visit. I passed my drug test there. I'm feeling really good. I'm like, I'm going to go get a job. I went to get a job, and they drug tested me at my job interview, and I failed. So then they sent me back over to my probation.
Was it the
officer.
cold medication that you're taking right
I think
now?
it could be my cold medication, but I don't know. Either way, I failed. So I went back to my probation office, and then I failed there too. So then the next week I went and tried again, and I still failed. So I clearly had not been off.
And
the
you
drugs
did this
long
all
enough.
within 3 hours.
Within 3 hours. I had 3 different failed drug tests.
So what's the
and,
process after you failed 3 times? Would you
well,
go?
I was just a failure. So it was a 3-week scenario. We had 3 different weeks that
Right.
we were supposed to get. If I had been successful, I would have gotten a job. I would have gotten an apartment. I would have got some groceries, but I didn't. No, I was a failure. So
Okay, well,
I didn't end up in jail.
Better luck
though.
next
There
time.
were several people that ended up in jail because they did things. That
so
led
where
them
did you
back to
end
jail.
up?
I just ended up out on the street, I guess.
All right,
Yeah.
so this is supposed to be a realistic look at what prisoners
About
go
what
through
you
when
go
they're
through when
right.
you're coming out of jail, because there's a lot of barriers.
Okay.
If
Just
you've been locked up for a few
standing
years.
back and looking at that,
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah.
How did you feel when you left there, as far as identifying with some of the folks that have to go through this?
Yeah, I think, and the goal was, I think it did. It made you feel more empathetic to what the system is. How
Right.
many things are stacked against somebody that's been locked up for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, even 2 years. That's been locked up and then has to get back out, has to get a job, and a lot of these people have. And it wasn't in my scenario so much, but some of the different people that were there, they were trying to get their kids back, trying to get custody
Oh,
back,
wow.
stuff like that. And that's just, that's the kind of stuff you have to go through coming out. So it's, yeah. And they had some real people that had actually been through the MRT program and other things that spoke afterwards and just spoke on the fact that some of them got out and they just couldn't reassimilate. And some of them, and they gave numbers, I don't remember. There were big numbers that would scare you though. They're like, I've been locked up 12 different times. I've gotten out 12 different times and gone right back
Right.
in because I couldn't
So
get back into.
is that,
real
I know
world.
the goal was to get you guys to identify with it now.
Yeah.
Is there another step that's coming of how maybe some changes can be made or some aid given? Is there anything like that on the tail end of this?
Nothing from this program that I could see. They didn't present us with any solutions that they were looking at. They were more, I think, just trying to keep us as they had. I went through. There was both of our sheriff's candidates went through it with me. There was a couple sheriff's deputies there. There was our police officers.
How'd they do?
police officers.
How'd they do? Just out of curiosity.
I will say I saw at least one sheriff's candidate in jail.
In jail.
In jail. I won't mention
All
any names,
right.
but they went to jail.
All right,
So, yeah.
okay.
So they were,
Well,
yeah,
this
we
is,
didn't all
I mean,
pass,
this is a
so.
serious thing. This is
it
what
is. Yeah.
People pay their time.
Yeah.
Come out. There should be a easier path than what they have to go through.
There are programs out there, and I don't know all the ones there. I'm sure there are some here locally. There's one I know in particular because I've worked with it. Our church in Nashville works directly. And we actually have some people that are there that are on staff at Men of Valor in Nashville, and they have an entire program set up where they work with you on the inside, and then when you come out, you're in their program. It's kind of, I guess you call it like a halfway house kind of deal.
Right.
Where they help you get a job, they help you get your ID, they help you get back out, and then eventually the whole goal is to get you out of their facility and out into your own housing. And I've seen a number of success stories out of that.
Yeah.
So and it's a really good, and I'm sure there's something like that here locally in the county too. I just am not aware of
Right.
all the different ones. Same day, Thursday evening was the city council meeting. I happened to be at that one as well. And other than one item on the agenda, it probably would have been about a 15 or 20-minute meeting. But however, we had a rezoning on West Jackson Street that led to about 60 minutes of discussion.
It was a marathon.
It was a long discussion. I'm going to be a little more careful than I usually am on this one, just because of the fact it's now going back to planning. It's going to be reconfigured, I'm told, and I'm going to have to vote on it. So I don't want to speak on any of the specifics of it because I still have to make a decision on it again a second round of time. But I do want to speak a little bit in generalities on some of the stuff I saw, and not so much for the meeting, but after the meeting. There was a post that that our friends at the Times Gazette did, just real short, just kind of explaining what happened. And I made the mistake of digging into the Facebook comments, and I just wanted to point out a couple things on them. There was a little bit of a direction in from a couple commenters of the fact that we've let all these outsiders come in and build these terrible subdivisions, and here we get a nice couple local people that just want to put in, some rental units. Why'd we let all this crap stuff? We should let the nice local people put in their what they're trying to get past. And the problem I've got with that approach is that's what's gotten us where we gotten. The whole, and I'll be upfront, and I will a little bit of specifics to the fact that I met and had lunch with the applicants on Monday. They're great, nice people. I would have lunch with them every day of the week. Great couple, very friendly. And then I ran into them at Chick-fil-A and met their kids the next day. So, and that's great. And I like local people being involved in trying to help develop and do better for the community. But what's gotten us to where we're at, and I'll use an example that I probably shouldn't, but I'm going to anyways. We've got a Starbucks about to open in town. And I've told people we're going to be, you can probably count on one hand the number of Starbucks that are going to be open in the U.S. that have a double wide and RVs parked next to the drive-through lane. So, and what gets you there is, oh, I know that guy, so I'm going to let so-and-so slide on a little something.
I'll go back to Diane Neely's speech at the commission a couple months ago. We have not said no to our friends.
Right. You've got to set some kind of standards, higher standards, and then you got to hold the standard. You can't let some people, and this is not, again, without getting into specifics, this is not the worst development that's ever come to the city of Sheffield. We talked about that last week.
Yeah.
This by itself is not going to make or break the city, the traffic, the utilities. We're not going to drain the Duck River Dry with 16 rental units.
Yeah, exactly.
We're not going to run the grid down. We're not going to overload Main Street. None of that's going to happen. But if we've got to have standards, and then we got to stick to the standards. And we can't pick and choose. I like this guy better than that guy. I like that guy better than this guy. Or we're just going to keep getting what we've been getting. And we've been getting that a long time. And I've only been here a short part of that, but you can drive around town and you can see what we've gotten, and you can kind of get a feel for how we got there. So got to raise the standards, got to stick with the standards. I don't know where this particular one's going to go. I mean, there's a lot of, again, good feeling, good people, they're trying hard. I want to be as helpful as I can. I have been. I've talked to them over the phone. I took a call from them after the meeting. We're doing everything we can, but we also don't want to let something get in that sets a standard going forward that's a lower standard than we're trying to get to. Is that's basically what I'm trying to say. I know that's a mouthful, but that's kind of where I'm trying to go. I feel bad about it, especially now that I've sat down and met the kids and, talked to them and they're great people. That you feel even worse about that. But I also don't feel like that's a reason to.
I think if the planning commission can lay out a path to getting it done,
right,
that should be a good step for the people trying to do the development. Just, let's go this direction too, and line up with what the city wants to do. Hopefully it gets there.
I'm hoping so. And I think that's the discussion now is they're going to spend about the next month, I believe, and they're going to try to look at it and maybe make some changes to it and get it a little more in line with something that is good long-term. That the issue, again, without going too specifics, they will obviously be in somebody that's here. They care about the community. They're going to try to do something good, but life happens, and 15 years, 10 years, 12, even 2 years down the road, if they're not the ones that are on the deed of this property and somebody else is on the deed that maybe doesn't quite care as much about the community, whatever we sign off on with them opens the door for that person to do whatever is allowed at that point.
And you could have a slippery slope at that point.
You could.
If something,
Just one other point I'll make off the comments. A couple people said, well, they own the property, they can do what they want, the whole property rights thing. And I'm all about people's property rights.
Too. Big time.
But there's a reason you have zoning regulations, and that's because in my neighborhood, which is just a subdivision, I sure don't want a coffee shop 2 doors down from me, with the drive-through open 24/7. There's reasons you have zoning rules. And when you buy a piece of property, it's zoned a certain way. That is your legal agreement on that property. When I buy whatever, an R2, R1, a I3, whatever, it has a set of rules. You can look them up on the city website. They're zoning rules. And when you buy something that's zoned a certain way, that is your legal right to that property. You can do whatever's allowed in that zoning, but that's what you've bought and that's what you've got. So now you can ask for rezoning, but there's no requirement for anybody to rezone something for you to do a certain thing, or you end up
Sure.
with RVs next to your coffee shop and double
Yeah,
wides,
exactly.
and just craziness.
Yeah.
So yeah, and again, I property rights, are also a big thing, but you get more if you're looking for a higher level of freedom.
Out in the county.
Go further out into
Yeah.
the county. Same reason and I'm not saying I'm a fan of this. I just happen to have bought a home in an HOA, but you live in an HOA, you even get less freedom
Oh, I'm
on
telling
top
you.
of what you get from the city.
You're under a dictatorship,
you
Josh.
got the neighbors can tell you how long your bushes can be. and
I know,
stuff. So,
exactly. That's why I don't live in one of those.
That's so, but that's a choice. I mean,
Yeah.
I knew that going
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
So, I
yeah.
mean, I don't know that I knew the extent of it until I lived in one, but they can,
Yeah.
your neighbor can, they can send you a little note that says your grass is an inch
Exactly.
too long. You better cut it or
Yeah.
we're going to fine you. So
I know.
that kind of
It's
stuff
something.
happens. So that was the big thing at that meeting. Other than that, I'll just go down the list of some stuff that we did approve. There were a couple of grants that we applied for. There's a rescue grant, which was a small
Yeah.
dollar amount to help the fire department. I think
motor?
it was on a motor on
Yeah.
a boat. And then there's a big grant. This was the build grant we talked about last time.
Yeah.
They did end up putting the flume in it. They decided
Yes, I
that
saw that.
They're-
I was like, I
they're-
got it. I did a dance.
they're calling in this. I don't know.
I understand a bridge.
That they're calling it, because it had to be transportation
It
related. They're
is.
calling it a bridge. It's
Hey,
going
it
over.
is, man. Let me tell
Yeah.
you something. Before you
Yeah.
arrived on the scene, Josh,
Yeah.
right down on let's see, right before you get to the post office, you're going right toward the square.
Yeah.
That flume collapsed.
Right. Yeah.
And it made a mess. I mean,
Yeah.
we had like buckled pavement. The bridge was messed up for
Yeah.
a day or two. Well,
Yeah.
actually for a few months.
Right. So even though I would consider it underground, whatever, they're
It's a
calling it a
bridge,
bridge.
Josh, it's a bridge.
For the purposes of this grant application, it's a bridge. And they were also looking, I believe, the intersection of Colorado and Union, which needs a lot of
Yes.
work going forward.
Yes.
So those two pieces, this is a big grant. No telling what we could or could not get.
25 million, right?
25 is the high end, though. We'd love to get that number. And there's no government local match required. So this would all come from the federal government, whatever we get out of that.
Let me
money.
ask you this. Do you
Yeah.
know what 25 million, how much it would take to correct a flume based on any estimates from
They've
anywhere?
not even given us
It's
a
enormous.
ballpark.
It's
Yeah, I
enormous.
think they even mentioned even up to whatever number. This first grant would be more just engineering to figure out
I
what
know.
to fix it, not to even fix it,
Golly,
just
George.
the engineering to go through
We're in
the
trouble.
whole thing,
Okay,
survey it,
now-
and figure out how to fix it.
Just here's
So,
my rabbit.
yeah.
The rabbit just jumped in front of me.
Yeah.
This goes back to poor planning. Years and years
this
ago.
goes
Okay.
it went back to 60s, maybe 50s or 60s.
late 50s, early 60s.
Well,
about
and
this-
they planned, but what they did was they put it in and they said, oh, this is good for 50 or 60 years. So everybody at that point said,
Exactly.
oh, 50 or 60
yeah,
years. That's-
exactly.
I won't be in office. That's great. So
Yeah.
50 or 60 years went and nothing.
Well, 20 years went.
Yeah.
And there were no alterations, no upgrades. 20 more years went. We go, oh, we got problems.
Yeah.
And now the
now
60
we're
years.
past the life cycle that they gave.
I
on the
don't
front
want to
end.
drive down North Main Street.
Yeah.
Well, it's South Main or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Right there in front of the post office, all through there,
Yeah.
behind the post office, wherever that flume is.
Yeah.
You think about it.
Yeah. So knock on wood, it's not collapsed
Yeah.
again, but it's collapsed more than once. in
Oh,
different
yes.
spots.
Yes.
So that's where we're at on that. We did approve a salary study. The city had one done in 2019. It's outdated. We continue to lose, particularly first responders, but staff in general. Police and fire come here, train, and then get a job that pays in another jurisdiction. Actually, I sent this to our deputy police chief and our fire chief. I got something from a buddy that's a police chief up in Berry Hill, which, if you know Berry Hill, it is 1 square mile,
Yeah.
tucked in Davidson County.
Yep.
They did not agree to the metro program, so they opted out when it became a metro government. So they are their own city within the
Right.
city. But anyways, 1 square mile, they were paying their starting guy coming in, just all he had to do was have his certifications. I think it ran from $70,000 to $78,000. They paid all of his insurance. They paid any dependents he had insurance. They covered the deductibles and co-pays on their insurance. They gave him 2 weeks of vacation, 12 paid holidays. If they put 5% into their 401k, they put an additional 10% in. So all these things,
Okay, so
and it's hard to compete with that.
all right. So how do you
yeah.
pay for that? That's the
Well,
big
you
question.
can't. Yeah, you can't get to that level. I mean, we just can't. They've got way more money than we do. I mean, that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
But we need to at least be in the ballpark of hopefully like Tullahoma and Murfreesboro, somebody that's close enough that somebody that lived here might drive to. So, yeah, and we probably can't even hit Murfreesboro number, but if we got within what, I don't know what the magic number would be,
Well,
5%,
Well,
maybe it's not worth driving.
if you
there
got
every
into
day.
10%, it's not
Yeah.
worth driving.
Might not be worth driving every day. So
Yeah.
so we just need to be at least enough in the
How do we
ballpark.
pay for that? Because that's a jump from where we're at.
It may be, yeah, and that's what we don't know the number until we get the study. So, we can speculate. And you're right; it may be too much. We may not be able to afford it, but until we know, I don't want to just sit there and say, we just can't do it. Throw our hands up and do nothing.
Yeah, we're not comparable to Rutherford County, but we're comparable to Marshall County. We're comparable to Lincoln County.
Yeah,
Moore County probably is higher than anybody around because of their revenue stream they have. They're coming from one big.
I know a deputy
not-
there, and they pay awful. Is what I was
Really?
told.
Oh, okay.
Now this may have changed.
Coffee
but, yeah.
County is their demographics are a little bit different than ours. But if you just look at toward the west and south,
Yeah.
we're comparable with all those as far as our revenue streams coming in.
So hopefully we're at least competitive with pay with them for sure.
Yeah.
So, but without I could just randomly call a bunch of people and ask them what they're paying. But we're hiring a professional. It's $20,000, which $20,000 is $20,000, but it also gains us some knowledge that we can hopefully use going forward. So that's why we passed it. We approved a grant for the what we're told is the second biggest event at the celebration, which is the Cowboy Mounted Shooters
Yes.
Association,
Yes.
which is. They used to come in the spring and fall. This year, they're just coming in the fall with a big show in the fall. So we're going to support that. There's a grant that I don't think is controversial, but the paperwork they sent us read weird to us. So we deferred it to get more information. They have this every year. It's a fundraiser for the community clinic, which does great work. They do the low income dental and medical.
Right.
But the way the paperwork read, the application, they were only collecting 50% of the profit from the event, which didn't make any sense. Like, where's the other 50% going? So it may just have been a typo or an error, but we wanted to get clarity on what they were doing with the money since we were giving them the money. And we're giving them taxpayer money on top of that. It's hotel motel, but it's still taxes.
It's taxpayer money.
It's taxpayer money. So we just we don't want to throw money somewhere that we weren't.
And I heard something during the committee meeting, the federal grant.
Yeah.
It's taxpayer money too.
It's taxpayer money too.
And it
Federal
was almost
taxpayers,
sometimes
and we live in the federal
yes,
United States of
That's
America.
right.
Here.
So
it's our money
it
too.
is taxpayer money. All these grants and stuff, it's
Yeah.
just not money floating in here out of the sky. We
No.
paid them.
Yeah. Now, technically, a federal grant, we probably just printed that money. It probably doesn't
Of course it
exist
does.
yet. It's probably hasn't been collected.
That's another
taxes.
rabbit. I'm not even going chasing.
That's a whole other.
All right.
So, and then last thing, this one popped up at the last second, and I asked a couple questions before, and they clarified. It was so late at the end, probably nobody even caught it. But we were asked as a council and the mayor to support some changes that are going on at the housing authority here in town. I didn't even know we got some of these numbers at the meeting. We have 430 housing authority units in town. 190 of them have been converted to a newer program, and I didn't write down. It's some acronyms and a section this and a that. I didn't write that down, but there's a newer program they've gone to. They want us to support them converting the last 240. The only question that I had going in, because I'm not on that committee, and nobody in the council is. And I just Googled the acronyms, and it said that these newer programs, one of them was called Section 18, allows them to tear down old dilapidated housing units and replace them. And what can happen with that in some cases is, and this is not the case here, which I'll explain, but you could possibly tear down a building that has 12 units and replace it with something that only has 8 or 10. You could lose units.
Right.
And that actually did happen in some areas of Nashville where they had the big brick ones that they tore down and replaced with single family. So my question I had going in was just, I want to make sure we're not cutting our number of units here in town because we have enough of a low income housing shortage as it is. And they've made it very clear in their presentation, we're not losing units. The other thing that can happen with the newer program is some people have said that they have, in the interest of fixing the unit, they have had people in some of the units. They've moved them out and they've not given them adequate housing while they're
Oh.
working on their unit. That is also not going to happen with our housing authority. They are not going to fix or replace any units until they're empty. So when somebody moves out of one that's run down, dilapidated, falling apart,
Yeah.
whatever,
Yeah.
at that point they'll do either a rehab, or if it's so old that it's not worth it, they'll tear it down and rebuild it. So that was all good news. So we supported that, and that was actually, I think, the last thing we did at the meeting. So last but not least, a meeting I did not attend but did watch on Thursday evening at the same time we were meeting down the hill. The County Wastewater Authority was meeting up the hill, and they had an expert in from the state that talked about soil. And the discussion about soil was, for lack of a better word, is a little dry. So, and that's
very technical.
It was very technical, but I did watch it all just because I didn't want to miss anything. There were a couple key points that came out of this meeting, though. Currently, the way it sits, the state used to go in and do their own inspections of these soil sites. They do not have that program anymore. If you are having a step system, a distributed wastewater, whatever kind of system brought in this case to Bedford County where we're at, the developer pays for their own soil scientists. They provide the numbers. You are relying on them to be honest with you, basically.
Right.
So in Rutherford County, which is the one that everybody says has done this the best, they didn't trust the guy that's being paid by the developer so much, I'm guessing would be the reason. They have hired their own full-time soil scientists to go in behind the guy that's paid for the developer and do their own testing. Okay. So, and that is the direction I would think would make sense for us as well, would be, and we probably can't afford to hire our own, so we need to contract somebody to come in and double check the work, because you and I couldn't do it. I couldn't tell you this.
No, they had a picture of them down in this big trench, going down and talking about the levels of the soil,
clay and this and the size of the. I couldn't even follow the discussion.
I know,
so,
it was. You would have to know what
you
they
had
were
to be an
talking
expert.
about.
You had to be an expert, and we don't have an expert currently, so we would need to get an expert as this goes forward. At the end of the meeting, one of the committee members gave a talk to the rest of the committee and said that they're concerned that this committee is headed the direction of too much regulation that is going to make homes in the county unaffordable. Further, they said that consolidated utility regulations have gone overboard, and that we as a county should not push the envelope beyond what the state regulates.
That's the whole reason the committee is coming together.
I think, and I'm just hearing what I'm hearing, that's not in line with what I'm hearing from people. Word on the street is, I think we want, from everything I'm hearing, is higher regulations, good regulations, and we're not out in the county so focused on subdivisions full of affordable housing. I think that's more of a city thing. Yeah, I think in the county, we're kind of, from just what I'm hearing, Facebook, and I go to a lot of meetings and talk to people, they'd rather have the higher regulations, keep the nicer homes out in the county, and not allow the county to turn into, a bunch of PUDs of, homes on 5,000 square foot
exactly.
lots. And
I think that's the whole point of this. You're trying to give a representation and come up with a plan that would satisfy those people, which is the bulk of people that want to have higher standards and not have wastewater issues like Wilson County and other counties that have had failures.
Yeah,
I get all that. I think maybe what the argument's going to come down to is, we put the regulations on them. Is it going to be a deterrent for people? And it sounds like to me that these points would point toward that. Is that maybe not the direction that the county really wants to go? I'm not saying stop growth.
Right.
Okay. I'm stop the wrong kind of growth, maybe, is what everybody's saying. And the poll that we put out it's been going for about 2 weeks. We had 3,500 and something people, maybe 3,800 something people vote.
Right.
And probably 65 to 70% of it basically says, let's slow down, growth wise, and get our infrastructure in place. That applies to the county and the city all together. So the higher standards is really the reason that this wastewater authority came together to begin with.
That's kind of what I'm seeing. And for those of us that live here and go to Murfreesboro ever at all, the easiest thing to look at just with your eyeballs while you're driving, look at northern Bedford County and what things look like there, and then drive through the Christiana section of 231. Christiana does not have the sewer system, the city sewer. They've got the distributed wastewater, and you've got those neighborhoods, which are decent neighborhoods. I looked at a house in one of those neighborhoods, but that's what northern Bedford County could turn into.
Right.
If that's the direction you go with the lower standards on the distributed wastewater. And they've actually got the higher Rutherford County standards, and they've still, that's what it looks like. So
Right.
is that the kind of neighborhood look that you want to turn the rest of the county into or not?
And well, obviously
Yeah.
the people, the population overall say no to that.
It seems that way. That's what I'm hearing for the majority. I mean, there's exceptions.
Unless you got a
to that.
piece of property
Yeah.
you're trying to develop, that's what people
Well,
are
unless
saying.
you're the one making money on the deal, maybe.
yeah, that's what people are saying.
Yeah. So yeah, do you want to turn into Christiana or do you want to stay Bedford County?
Yeah.
So that seems to be the discussion there with the distributed wastewater. So that they're gonna be back again next month to meet again. That is a committee that is going to go on for a while. They had some discussion in the committee of how long they want to really run on with this thing. They've been given up to 12 months of meetings,
Right.
so they could go on quite a while. So they're gonna bring somebody back next month to talk. I think we're discussing bringing somebody that actually is in the development world and that actually installs these systems and have them speak on it. So with that, I think we've gone over 45 minutes and I've covered most of the big meetings this week. I will say I did go to the visit my friends. The VFW breakfast was great as always this morning. So I had my eggs and my sausage and my bacon. So yeah,
Man,
it was
when are
good
they going to
stuff.
bring country ham back over there, man? They got
Yeah, there's no country ham.
They used to have
Yeah.
country ham every
they?
week. Yeah, man, it was or every time they did it.
Yeah.
Once a month, I believe is what it was.
Okay, all right. Well, it
We've
was
got a
good.
few people
So,
watching there. We've got Diane Neely, and we've got Mr. Chuck Glover. I see him out there, and Tyler Leverett. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, guys. I guess it's now time for us to take a little break. So
let's
we can
hear
come
from our
back
sponsor, and then we'll talk about what's coming up this
Yeah.
coming week. Yeah.
All righty, we'll be right back right after this.
Get the results you want with the personalized service you deserve at Dennis Young Insurance Agency.
As a local independent agency, we offer coverage from several different companies, including Erie. So whether it's auto, home, life, personal, or business, we can find the right coverage to meet your unique insurance needs. And with a rate lock advantage, your rates won't go up as long as you do not change drivers, autos, or addresses. Contact us at Dennis Young Insurance Agency, insuring Shelbyville and surrounding areas since 1988.
All righty. Welcome back in here. Thanks for Dennis Young Insurance being our sponsor. We look forward to maybe possibly having a new sponsor here very shortly.
I hear rumors, but we'll wait and see.
Yeah.
We'll see what
All
happens. Week that's coming up. Tuesday evening, the county committee will be meeting at the historic courthouse on the square at 5:00. This will be the Rules and Legislative Committee starting at 5, followed by the, what do they call it now? They get a new
It
name.
used to be law
Safety.
enforcement.
Used to be law enforcement. Now the Public Safety Committee.
Yeah.
And then followed by the Courthouse and Property Committee. They will talk about what's going on at the county. They do, all those agendas have been online for almost a whole week already. And I flipped through them and didn't see anything that jumped out that I figure everybody's going to be raising their hands and flapping around about.
All right.
But who knows?
A question that affects you
Yeah.
at the Rules Committee,
Yes.
Rules and Regulations. Will your tax freeze committee give a report, or will it wait till you guys finish up to come back?
They haven't asked us for a report. I'll be there, and I'll be happy to speak on it if they want to. The idea was we were going to meet for 3 times as a committee. My expectation is they'll wait and have us present after.
Okay.
But I'll be happy to, tell them what happened. They can watch the video too.
Oh, yeah, it's right there.
They can
Yeah.
read the packet. It's all available. It's online, easy to get to.
Yeah.
Wednesday morning, I will be along with the rest of city council, department heads, city manager, the whole city, anybody in city government will be meeting Wednesday morning for 6 hours to try again to develop a strategic plan for the city. There was an attempt at this last year. What, an outside outfit was brought in. It went for 5 or 6 hours and didn't come to a consensus at the end. So we're trying again. So
Okay.
there will be breakfast. There will be lunch. I've been given a
Okay. So
notebook.
this is not a morning meeting. This is basically an all day meeting.
This is a breakfast and lunch meeting. So yeah,
All
we
right,
start at
so-
8, goes to 2.
So what's the objective here? I mean, are you going to try to come out with some sort of resolution at the end?
The objective is to come out with a plan to give the city staff of what the city should be looking like going forward the next 3 to 5 years, I believe. Maybe even as far as I think it's a little shorter term than I think it's more 3 to 5 is kind of the focus. But
Right.
yeah, that it'll be interesting. I'll be there. It'll be
Yeah. Be
it'll,
fun.
It'll be it's a long meeting.
Is
Longest
it
meeting we
video?
go to.
Is it going to be live streamed?
I think they live streamed it last
They did
time.
last
So
year,
if you're
yeah.
really bored on Wednesday morning, want to watch 6
Maybe
hours,
I'll just leave it
of,
running and just
just
check
leave
in
it
on you
running and
guys.
look at us
Yeah.
as we're
Yeah.
discussing. Thursday evening, the school board will be meeting. I usually go to that one. I didn't notice an agenda yet. It's probably online and I just haven't seen it yet. And they're also that evening, this is one of those evenings I can't get to all meetings. At the same time the school board meets, both the county and the city BZAs meet at the same night.
Okay.
The county does have, they've not met in quite a few months, and they've got, I believe, 2 items on theirs. I'm not even sure what they are. And the city had a couple on theirs as well, I believe. So BZA is where you go if you get turned down by planning or if you get turned down by codes.
It's where you throw a Hail Mary.
It's basically a Hail Mary. You say, I don't meet the regulations, but I still really want my
Yeah.
whatever.
You go, please.
And well, it has to be a little more than please.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of rules of how you can get, if there's conditions that weren't really your fault and you've ended up somehow with a 4,000 square foot lot and the minimum is 6,000, sometimes they'll let you build on anyway. Stuff like that. If you need to be 10 feet closer to the road than you're supposed to be,
Yeah.
and they want to feel sorry for you or something.
Okay,
No,
yeah.
but there are reasons that you have to meet. But yeah, it is the last chance if you've got a project
Yeah.
you're trying to get that doesn't meet all the rules. So, and with that, I think that is all the big stuff I've got this week. I'm sure there'll be 3 or 4 other small meetings. I'll
Well,
go to.
those committee meetings are a load. So you have 3.
Yeah, 3
packaged up in
back-to-back
one.
meetings.
Yeah,
Yeah, again, nothing crazy on. And honestly, we're in election year,
Yeah.
and some of the controversial stuff doesn't tend to get brought up on the election year.
we don't
So
want
we
controversy.
just kind of
Yeah.
a lot of times things slide through. So I'm pushing a little harder than normal with this senior property tax freeze thing. Normally that would be something nobody'd want to touch.
Well, I
around.
think it's a no-brainer. Based
I think
on
so.
what I'm
I think we're
saying.
still. I heard great things again. My
Yeah.
my group at the VFWs, a lot of whom are 65 and up. At that breakfast on Saturday mornings, they're all still. I've never the pushback I've gotten, oddly enough, has never come from senior citizens groups.
Of course
the ones that
not.
are benefiting. It's
Exactly.
come from within government and other places, but the actual people benefiting from it, oddly
Obviously.
enough, are for it.
Yes,
So, yeah.
obviously.
So hopefully we can make it happen for them.
All right.
So
Well, we appreciate everybody dropping in and sitting down with us today.
yep.
Josh, thank you again always as you have done your homework and you bring the receipts every week.
I tried. So it was a long week. Hopefully this week will be a little calmer.
Yeah.
So
All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll be back again, same time, same place. Thanks for our sponsor, Dennis Young